Right.
You recording?
I'm. Thanks, Mum. SEO is AO. Welcome to the show, Frédéric Dubut.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. We've met a couple of times.
That's right.
I've talked to Nagu about the ranking algorithm, and he wouldn't tell me any secrets. I suppose you won't tell me any secrets either. But I wanted to talk to you about the article I wrote that Gary Ellis was talking to me about the candidate sets and the idea that the blue links are the basis and the candidate sets are bidding for a place. They need to bid higher than the top blue link, and if they do, they win the place. Sounds about right?
Yeah, I think in the end, what we want is really to satisfy our users. So I
That's
think
what Nagu said.
I mean, but it is true. That is why I said it. So if you think the 10 blue links are always there. So like if there is one thing that is constant in search results, there are always 10 blue links. Or really, like if we can't find 10 of them, there are probably slightly less.
Yes.
But algo is like the basis of everything.
Yeah.
And then if the question or the query is a question or something we can answer with an intelligent answer, Google calls them feature snippet, then we add
you call
that
them
on top.
intelligent answers?
Intelligent answer is the official name. Internally, we call them Q&A, I think, because
right,
it's just
okay.
shorter intelligent answers, you know.
Yeah.
And then you get all the other answers. So there is a different team. So I work in algo, so like the 10 blue links. I have colleagues.
You're the 10 blue link guy.
I am the 10 blue links. I pick them manually with love. And my peers, like in the office next to me, do the Q&A. And then there is a team called whole page. So the whole page, as the name like sounds,
Yep.
they essentially arrange the whole page and they make the Bing product, so to speak, as an entire like end-to-end product. So they look at arranging the ads when the ads team tell them, okay, there are some ads to show on top of the page. And then they look at the 10 blue links. They look at potential answers. So it could be a video answer, an image answer, a news answer. And if they think they are going to satisfy users more than some of the blue links, then that's where they start inserting these answers.
So, sorry, so my idea about Darwinism is that you're creating these rich elements and they use they bid and they live or die by the fact whether or not they can actually convince the algorithm that they have more value. But you're saying it's actually teams who are deciding that their special preferred element is more interesting and they're putting it in manually?
No. It's not like if let's say I'm working on the videos.
Yep.
So I'm going to generate the best video answer I can for a given query.
Okay.
But they're not the ones deciding if it shows up. That's the role of the whole page team.
And so it's all working on the same algorithm but with different weightings. Because, for example, if we take feature snippet as an example, being accurate, being fresh, and being authoritative is going to be much more important than necessarily having links.
Yep.
So it's the same algorithm working with different weightings, and the teams are working on this algorithm, the central algorithm, and tweaking it for their specific need, for their specific rich element.
Yeah, and like it really depends on the query. So there are queries for which showing videos, showing news, showing images makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I was just trying yesterday a query like Beyonce. I was
You
thinking
like her?
I like her, and I was thinking that would be a nice example to show in my talk here. And if you look for the query Beyonce, it's very important to show videos, to show news. This is what our users want. In the end, the 10 blue links don't matter as much. So like that's where this master algorithm would make the decision to show these. But like a query, like I have nothing that comes to mind really, but like a more like generic query.
What's 1 + 1?
Yeah, what's 1 + 1? I suppose
Very
you would get
simple.
Probably the feature answer,
Okay.
the intelligent answer, because it is a question. So we always try to answer questions.
But in fact, I used 1 + 1 in a talk once, and when you type 1 + 1, you've got 1 and 1, the hosting company. 1 + 1, there was something else. What was it? It's a song. So in fact, 1 + 1 is not as simple as a question as we would imagine.
Probably, in the end, like each team is going also to show which level of confidence they have in their own answers.
Okay.
So like if the video team really can pull relevant results that are videos for the query 1 + 1, whether it is someone showing how you compute 1 + 1 or like a song, like that would be 1 + 1 that comes from YouTube.
1 + 1 is 2.
It is true.
There you go. I'm sorry, I just made that up. It's not the real song. It's probably a rap song.
But it was the right answer, though.
That's true. Oh, sorry. It's like 1 + 1 is a happy marriage or something. Oh, anyway, nothing to do with that. So coming back to Google Ads. Oh, excuse me, that was terribly rude of me. To ads, I've been intrigued by the idea. Is that working in the same way, i.e. there is an algorithm that is calculating whether the ad is valuable or not to the user, and there's a team similar to the video team working on the algorithm that will decide whether that ad has the value to get its place on the SERP. Is that true?
Yeah, so the key principle for the ad is that we still want to satisfy users with our ads. So we want them to be relevant. We want to make sure that if they're going to click on an ad, what they see on the other side is going to satisfy their query. So it's just expanding options. It is like sponsored options. But in the end, like the same principle of satisfying users also applies.
And so it's the same system of a candidate set that's bidding for a place on the first page with a team behind it, tweaking an algorithm.
Except like we want to be transparent to our users, so we are not going to interleave ads within the algo results.
No.
So we have ads on top, we have ads at the bottom. But other answers, like video, could be inserted between 3 and 4. You can see that sometimes.
And how does that work? How do you decide whether it's going to be number 1 or number 3 or number 4 or for a video, for example? Because sometimes we see videos right at the top, sometimes in the middle. Is that an idea of saying this video satisfies the user enough to get on the page, but not enough to be the first answer?
Yeah, I mean, it is the right intuition. Like it means that whatever algo at 1 is probably the best result we can show to our users. And if we're showing the video between 3 and 4, like that's the intuition that these top 3 results are probably more satisfactory.
But then you're saying intuition and not algorithm.
Well, like the algorithm is built by humans. Like even though it is like a machine learning model, in the end, what you want to build is like the definition of the algorithm is built by a human. So you put your own intuition in it. So like what is a signal that is important, what is a signal that is not important, and then using machine learning, you train the model to balance all these signals to satisfy users.
I read once machine learning is like cooking. You've got the ingredients, the utensils, and then the chef. And the ingredients is data. The utensils are the functions, the algebraic, whatever it's called, and the chef is the intuition of the person who's writing it. Is that right?
Yeah, in the end, like for traditional machine learning, you still need to tell the machine what are the signals or the features, as we call them, that you think are important.
Okay. Oh, it's not ranking signals; it's ranking features.
So it's a machine learning term, independently of search. Like for machine learning, every kind of input is called a different feature. So you can have like hundreds of them. Any algorithm, it doesn't have to be searched. Like
so when we say ranking factors, we're talking rubbish. We should be saying the feature.
In the terms of machine learning, that's right. Like the typical example of machine learning is if I'm Zillow and I want to build like the Zestimate, like the predictor of the price of the house.
Who's Zillow?
You don't know Zillow?
No.
It's a US company.
Oh, right, sorry.
They do real estate. So like they try to predict the price your house is going to sell.
Okay.
Which is very useful, and they use a bunch of different signals, and like some of the intuition would be the number of square meters of your place, number of bedrooms, the location. And so these are all different features. So you as a human, you input the features.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I really like the example. I really like everything just went tuk in my head. Brilliant, sorry, it's great.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah,
right?
no.
So the human is going to tell the machine, these are the things that I think are important. And then you give a lot of different examples, and the machine is going to give different weights. So taking your like cooking analogy, it would be like saying, like telling the machine, yeah, you probably need to use eggs and milk and butter, and then the machine is going to like determine how many eggs and how much milk and how much butter you need to make a good pancake, I suppose.
And and the intuition of the person who's programming this thing or putting it all together is to get the machine off to a really good start.
Right.
And point it very much in the right direction so it doesn't make the world's worst omelette first off.
Yeah. And so like one of the nice things you can do is you can cook 10 different pancakes with different proportions, and you have like a human like taster who is going to taste all of them and say this one is very good, this one is very bad, this one is okay. And then like the machine is going to adjust the formula automatically. And it's exactly what we do for web ranking. We have a set of queries and URLs or human labelers or human judges.
How do you call them labelers?
Well, like judges in general, but like labelers, judges, raters, they are in the end.
And they say this is good,
humans.
this is bad.
This is good, this is bad. Yeah. Exactly. And the machine is going to look what are the features that are the most predictive of something being good or bad.
Yeah, okay, which is the same thing as the quality people in Google.
Yeah, quality raters at Google. We call them human judges. Like that feels a little bit like impersonal, but
Yeah, no, it does a bit. And the idea basically is to keep feeding this back and feeding
That's
this
right.
back. And Andrea Volpini, an Italian guy from WordLift, was talking about the dance with machines. And I really like that idea is we've got this data, we push it all in, get the result,
Yep.
judge it as human beings, push it back in, and that helps the machine make it better.
Yeah. Every time the machine fails, like you want it to adjust, and when the machine succeeds, it reinforces like what it learned before.
And what the machine is failing in is human intuition. And that's the thing you were talking about earlier. My intuition tells me that this result is going to be better. And my intuition, or a judge's, call it content judge, whatever you would call them, I can't remember, will use their intuition, their human feelings and sentiments to feed back into the machine what it is they were looking for.
Well, like, and when you pay people to rate things, like it goes beyond intuition. So we have a set of guidelines, like similar to the rating guidelines.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit more objective. We want people to still like put some of their understanding of the world into the judging, but it's still a set of guidelines that are fairly objective. Our goal is really that if you take two different persons and they understand the guidelines and they judge the same query and URL pair, they're going to give the same rating.
Yeah, okay. But sorry, two people will never give the same rating because there's always an element of judgment about it.
Yep.
So it has to be at phenomenal scale.
Like
How
in
many
the
people
end,
have you got doing this?
I actually don't know.
Oh.
A lot, I imagine.
Brilliant, but very precise answer. A lot.
A lot, more than one.
That's great. And your guidelines, or your guidelines are saying you want to be more multimedia, richer, or I mean, is the aim of Bing to become a multimedia presentation much more than the blue links? The blue links dying out is my question.
No, like they're not going anywhere. I mean, this is the bread and butter of the search results. So the guidelines I refer to, I work in the algo team. So these are really guidelines that take into account only the 10 blue links. So I don't know exactly how the whole page team works, like if they have like their own guidelines, their own algorithm. I'm sure they do. But when we ask our own judges to look at things, we look only in the context of the 10 blue links.
Oh, so you have judges looking at each different element and saying, is this appropriate or not? Or you're just talking about the judges looking at the blue links?
Like for me, it's only the blue links. That's the team I work on. I'm pretty sure like there are other people looking at other elements because it's the bread and butter of machine learning. You need to have people looking at elements, rating them. Otherwise, where the data comes from, right?
Very good point. And so my other question is, are the 10 blue links dying out? I don't mean are they going to die completely, but they are being reduced. I mean, we used to have 10 systematically, and that's certainly going down. What kind of rate is it going down? In your opinion, obviously you can't know exactly. I mean, what are we at? 7.5 blue links on average per page?
I don't know, actually. Well, I'm thinking, I mean, it may be right. Like, it's probably a right ballpark. In the end, you probably want to keep the page roughly the same size. So anytime you add something, you're going to like probably take something off because you don't want the page there's like just a laundry list of different things.
Well, my immediate reaction was if you've got the video boxes or the Twitter boxes, Google or whatever, or the image boxes, then it's two places, so one blue link drops off the bottom. It isn't systematically true. Sometimes you do get all these rich elements and you still have 9, and so the page actually gets quite long.
Yeah. Well, it is the decision of the whole page algorithm.
People. I like that. Yeah.
I mean, it is really what it is. Like sometimes you want to be more comprehensive with the blue links because there is. Let's imagine there are several intents, like a lot of them for a given query. So you still want to cover everything, have a good diversity, like several results per intent. So you get a lot of these blue links in addition to the answers.
I'm going to be really rude. I call that hedging your bets. I mean, because when it's ambiguous, like for example, you say, I can say it in French, contrôle technique, which is the MOT in England. I don't know what it's called in America, but doing the technical check of your car, it could be, what is it? So you're going to show Wikipedia, another page of explanation. It could be, I want to buy one, in which case you're going to show perhaps the local pack, and then some other results. And that ambiguity, what strikes me is we're all kind of saying, we're aiming to get a place on page 1, and there are 10 opportunities, let's say, or 9 opportunities, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
But there aren't, because if your page is a sales page, you've actually only got 3 opportunities. And so the misjudgment is there. As soon as it's ambiguous, the short head stuff, you're not aiming at 10 places, you're aiming at 3 places, right?
Yeah, I think it's fair. Like if it has 3 different intents, you probably want to have good coverage. One thing that is still valid in terms of looking at 10 blue links is we have this nice feature where, for example, like the typical example we give is download Office 365, and it could be like 32-bit or 64-bit. And so we have this nice feature on top where you can add keywords that are going to nail really the intent you want. So instead of having us like sprinkling a little bit all the intents, and like you can really nail down the one you want. And in that case, you still have 10 opportunities to rank for that specific, but very specific intent.
Only in the case when somebody actually uses that functionality, which people don't.
People do, like because it's on the top. It's on the top of the page.
Okay.
Before the results, when it appears, and people want to have. If you really know what you want, if you want a control technique, and you want to book it at a location, then being able to really nail that intent, like getting 10 results that are specific to your intent, is better than getting 3 for one intent and 6 for or 7 for an intent that is wasn't yours in the first place.
Yeah. Okay. I like the idea. I was kind of unsure whether people would actually use it, but then you kind of think, if you're giving me the opportunity to dig deeper or being more precise, I would use it. Oh, I've got another question, which has nothing to do with all the rest of it. Which completely. I have this idea that Bing is used by little old ladies, and it isn't. Sorry, it's not. It's because people who use Bing would tend to be the people who don't change the default browser, the default search engine when they use their Windows computer. Would that be fair? Is there a weighting towards? Not obviously little old ladies, but non-technophiles.
Not necessarily, because when we write the guidelines, which is essentially the specification of the product, we don't put into it any concept of we need to target ladies or gentlemen or specific age category. We want results that are universally good. Okay. And we want these guidelines to be applicable to all the markets in which we operate. So these are more general principles, what it means to be on topic for a query, what are the determining factors for a quality website. But there is no subsection these are the good results for men or women. I don't think it would be good, and I think it would probably introduce some biases that we certainly don't want in the model.
Jolly good. I have another question which has nothing to do with anything even, and that was the 30% figure that people keep throwing around for. In the US, Bing have got 30% of the market, and Nagu was saying he doesn't know where they got that figure from. I mean, in France, it's what, 5%?
No, it's a bit more, according to the same figures. So we get the numbers from Comscore.
Okay.
It's a reputable company.
Yep.
They have a system that they call, if I remember, explicit core search. So this is searches that really were made on purpose. I think you can look their definition, but that's my understanding.
Yeah.
Not where people were not intending to search and they happen to trigger a new search.
Okay.
And numbers from Comscore, and you can check them out. And the exact definition is on the Bing Ads website. There is a fine print, 5 lines long, and if you want to see how the numbers are computed, where they come from, that's where you can get them.
And Comscore are using the idea of intentional search. I mean, when would you make an unintentional search?
I'm not sure.
It sounds very bizarre. Somebody tricked me into searching for something.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly,
Okay,
but I guess it was enough of a problem for them to create this thing of explicit search.
Oh, okay, right. So I've taken you completely off topic, and that was very unfair of me because we were talking about search, and you've answered the questions with great clarity, and that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
SEO is AEO. Thank you, Frédéric. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then could we just do the straight?
Yeah,
thing?
he's bullying me.
What?
It's just an intro at the top, which isn't the Sun version. So it's,
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I mean, the song is nice, but...
I suspect I saw you dancing a little bit there.
Yeah, the SEO is AEO.
Yeah.
Right, so the serious one. This is really serious. Hi, Jason Barnard here. We're at UnGagged 2019 in Los Angeles. I'm with Frédéric Dubut.
Perfect pronunciation.
Oh, thank you. I'm French, so I'm starting to nail that. I have one question for you about UnGagged. Why did you come?
I came because Michelle Robbins, who I know from SMX at the time, thought it was a good idea to have some Bing people talk about all the evolution of search and ranking, and so here I am.
Yeah, and it's brilliant, and you've had a really good time.
It was great. We had a very engaged audience, a lot of questions. I know that we had to record late because I had 45 minutes worth of questions after my session. So
Isn't that brilliant?
That was great. That was great. I loved
So
it.
the best thing about UnGagged is you got 45 minutes of questions because people were really interested in what you had to say.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, man.